Hello everybody, my name is Nick Starwind, and once again we have returned, for the third time in a row, to the subject everyone loves to hear me talk about the most. Anything but the missing coach. It has been incredibly hard to pick the next subject after how well the last two videos have done, so here is a deep sea dive into everyone's favourite subject, video games. And with all of us locking down for the moment during this awkward time, I know one particular game a lot of you, myself included, are playing to pass this time. Unless you're always isolated like me, then you're just playing games as normal. So, Animal Crossing. Yes, Animal Crossing, Nintendo's wildly successful series of living with crippling debt and being a fair weather friend. Created by Katsuya Eguchi and released on the N64 in 2001 under the name Dōbutsu no Mori, aka Animal Forest, its success in Japan later saw a release in 2004 on the GameCube in Europe and renamed to what we know as Animal Crossing. For those under a rock, Animal Crossing is essentially The Sims, but with a more singular narrative. You are a male or female moving to a town for the first time, and you've got to survive the ordeals of independence, which mainly involves fetching and carrying for a mystical animal with giant testicles. And yes, I mean Tom Nook. During your experience in this town, you will meet many different characters who will come and go, each one with their very different personalities and traits that will either make your experience joyful or just be a pain in the ass. One of the main features of this game is the fact that each playthrough you do, you will get a different selection of characters with over 400 to meet, unlike my towns who always seems to have a Rene.
Don't ask me why.
You collect bugs, fish, fossils and anything else you can find and either use them to spruce up your house, pay off your debt or enhance the town's culture by giving it to the local museum, which is open 24/7 and the curator whenever I go in is always passed out. You horrible people, let the man sleep! Aside from a few things like seasonal changes, timed events of the season, and lots of customizing, that is pretty much it for the game itself, and this has been the running trend for nearly 20 years now. Except with location changes, role swapping, and jumping from home console to handheld and never making up its mind about which one it wants to be. I feel its strongest point was when New Leaf was released. Because of the success of the 3DS, Street Pass, and later down the line Amiibos and DLC, it really kicked the door open for connectivity without the ball ache of dealing with internet connections. Because as we know, Nintendo has such lovely issues with them in the past, taking a look at you GameCube and Wii. Now, I am late into the Animal Crossing game, seeing as New Leaf was my introduction to the series. Before that, I didn't really know a lot about it. When I was in my teens, no one ever talked about it, and when I did meet people who played it, they didn't really have a lot to say, so I was kinda on the fence about trying it out. But that's when my girlfriend came into the picture, and ta-da! New Leaf was on the table. Now with New Horizons out at the moment, everyone has been spending their isolation time wisely playing the hell out of this game. I even bought a Switch myself because my girlfriend wanted the game, so I've been having not only those lovely new console tingles, but been having a fabulous time on the game. I mean, look at me, and I just gorgeous. But did you know there was an OVA for this series released in theatres? Well, you either clicked on this video because you did and wanted to see what I had to say, or like me, you never actually knew about it in the first place. Back in 2006, due to the success of the DS release of Animal Crossing Wild World, Toho teamed up with Nintendo and OLM.inc to produce a feature-length animated film based on the first two games, although leaning more towards Wild Worlds. Directed by Shoji Shimura and titled Dōbutsu no Mori, we follow the character Ai as she arrives in the town of Animal Forest and begins her life living on her own. You essentially go through the normal steps of the game with aspects of character development and adventures to break it up and, you know, not look like you're watching an abridged Let's Play online. It's actually quite interesting because a lot of the staff members from Nintendo helped with the development of this film, picking and choosing specific characters and translating some of their experiences into the story, which makes it a really nice love letter to a series you worked hard on. When it was released, Nintendo would give out special vouchers to people that could be used to redeem hard-to-earn items in Wildwood. So it was a good promotion for an already existing game, even after it being a year since its original release. probably why it sold over 3 million copies in Japan alone. This, however, is the only place it would get a release, because for some reason, Nintendo or Toho never saw a reason to translate it for Western audiences, and seems actually a lot of the companies dubbing anime at the time in the Western regions for said audiences were too busy buying more important series and films like, I don't know, Jewel Masters and Tokyo Mew Mew, and anything that was never going to sell as well as a goddamn Animal Crossing movie. Seriously, these games sold like hotcakes and no one thought to go, oh, this could be a success. Why not buy the rights, translate it, and then actually make bank sales? But boss, what about Tokyo Mew Mew? What about Tokyo Mew? So even now in 2020, with Animal Crossing still being at the height of popularity, we still don't have any form of dub or release of this film in the Western region, except with maybe fan dubs, which is how I found this in the first place when it was being shared a few months ago on Facebook. But the main question is the OVA film of an amazing video game series going to be a Sonic the Movie or the Super Mario Bros. Film? Well, grab some bells, buy a seat and snuggle up with your favourite villager, and let's dive into Dōbutsu no Mori and see. Now, just to make it easier for newcomers to Animal Crossing watching this video, I will be using the translated names of the characters, as this will use the original Japanese names, so not to confuse anybody. Also, before we go any further, be sure to like, share and subscribe for more content from me, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below about the film. So, let's begin. So we begin the film like you would in the game, with our main character Ai making her way to the new town at the sprite old age of 11. Because once again, anime law is very different to the real world laws, where you can just chuck your children out on the streets and they will achieve the greatest things. Provided they look like a main character, of course.
役場に着いたぞ。
Well, that's a good first impression. I'm sure everyone will make note of the crazy girl that just moved in. Walking into the town hall, she's introduced to the mayor and, well, I spoke too soon about the only crazy person in town.
質問に答えてもらうとしようか。質問？次のうちお前さんの最も尊敬する人物を述べよう。1番村長、2番村長、3番村長、4番村長。
Shall you vote for me? Me? Or me? Who? You vote for me? Well, isn't that nice? God, I love democracy. I don't remember the mayor being that crazy. But then again, when I meet him, he's retired and hiding on an island somewhere, so what do I know? But then again, New Horizon, you're on an island on your own as after being a mayor. Wait. No, I ain't doing that. So Ai makes her way down to see her new landlord, which, if you know the games well enough, is that ever-loving giant ballsack, Tom Nook. And no sooner does she introduce herself, he wastes no time in getting some of that free labor.
じゃあ配達よろしくだなも。
配達って私は家の鍵をもらいに来ただけでバイトしに来たわけじゃ。
動物村の生活になれるにはここでバイトするのが一番だなも。
And that is it for Tom Nook as a character. We never get much of an interaction after that. He just disappears into the background. One of the most favourite characters in the series, and he's reduced to a small bit and is outshined by a turtle with Alzheimer's. Poor Nook. That's like, Isabel being replaced by Kevin. You just don't do that. So Ai starts her first day on the job, and basically these sequences are to flesh out our characters to pay attention to. We meet Rosie, the hopeless romantic, who interrogates Ai for coming here, not because she's a child, but if she's running away from true love. The important things, not child abandonment.
わかった。あんた前住んでたところで大失礼したでしょ。そして彼を忘れるためブロークンハートを癒すために放浪の旅へ。そしてついに遠いこの村にたどり着いたのよ。
Right.
We then meet Alfonso, who has the attention span of a fly, where 1 minute he's talking about the love of pies, and then running off with a ninja? Wait, what part of the game does he appear in? Yeah, I'd be confused too, This is Animal Crossing, not Naruto. So leaving that confusion behind, we go to meet the mascot of the furry fan club, Whitney, who is much too important to be doing any physical labour and leaves the child to dump her package for her while at the same time commenting on how unladylike she is, and offers her lessons in future. And boy, do I already not like this character. I mean, I have other reasons not to like this character, but you know, just give it time, you'll find out.
いざとなったら私が女の何たるかをきっちり教えてあげるわ。
So, rinse repeat, who else do we meet? Well, we meet the Able sisters, my personal favourites in the game. God, they are just so adorable. But anyway, yeah, and you know, we get a very brief introduction to the character of Margie. Don't worry, she becomes important later, she's just very brief in here. And that pretty much concludes her first day, and I heads back to our house.
あの家が私の記念すべき一人暮らしをスタートする家。は？
Well, nothing like being assaulted by a ninja on your first day, but that's okay because it's not really a ninja. We are in fact introduced to the neighbouring villager, Yu. He is essentially the opposite gender character in the games, and I guess they couldn't figure out how to put him in properly, so they made him incredibly annoying and childish, and over-eccentric about his wardrobe. Kind of like a real child playing the game.
やる。
Ah, young love. The next day, Ai is delivering her packages when she arrives at Apollo's when...
Oh my god, was that a ninja?
More like a nanja. Terrible what passes for a ninja these days.
Laying on her back in complete confusion, we are then introduced to the law enforcement of the town. Jesus Christ! I can understand why Nintendo cut you after a while. Would scare the living crap out of me as well.
で、問題はこの庭やな。
ごめんなさい。どうしようこれ。
まあ、見たところわざとやったんでもなさそうやし、説教はこれくらいにするとして、それにしてもよりによってアポロの庭をな。君もよくよく運が悪いで。ほな。
So it turns out that Ai has not only landed in a flower patch, but it was the flower patch of Apollo's, who is apparently a very mean character. So, without him around to explain her situation, she is told to head to the museum to find him. Well, after more screaming, she meets Blathers, who, by the way, should be asleep at this time. Give him a break, people! We also meet Celeste, who saves Ai from being drowned in Blathers' word vomit.
名前の意味はズバリ地震トカゲ。1日に500キロもの植物を食べていたという学者もいるんですよ。はい。いつかセイスモサウルスの完璧な化石標本を展示できたら。
Wow, I'm so glad he never did that to me in New Leaf. So after 2 attempts at boring her to death, she finally makes it to the cafe and finds Apollo.
お届け物です。
たぬき商店か。
すいません。お庭めちゃくちゃにしたの私なんです。
はあ？
お荷物を届けに行ったけどお留守で、その時忍者が、それはともかく私転んでしまってお花の上に。本当にごめんなさい。
マスター、コーヒーうまかった。
Well, that was easy. Well, wipe your hands clean of that one, girl. Surprised didn't peck your eyes out or something.
届け物ですね。お手伝いします。ありがとう。でもこれくらい大丈夫。
So after that awkward pie, later in the day we're introduced to Margie once again as they discuss about...
例えば今ここにチェリーパイがあるとしますね。三角に切れたのじゃなくて丸々ワンホール。それを一人で食べると考えてみてください。
Well, I wasn't expecting the great philosophers of ancient Greece, but, you know, it's Animal Crossing. You got to talk about something, I suppose.
一切れ二切れと食べていき、三切れ目くらいになるとふとダイエットのこととか頭をよぎったりして。あるある、そういうこと。そんな時あなたならどうします？この辺で食べるのをやめなきゃって思いながらも食いしん坊だから全部食べちゃう。私も一緒です。だって残りは後に取っておこうって冷蔵庫にしまったりすると。
This conversation becomes very long-winded. It kind of reminds me of in Lucky Star where they talk about which side is the head on the cornetto thing. It doesn't have much else going for it, but unlike the cornetto conversation, the cherry pie is a metaphor throughout the film, referring to having something you love and being good at it. Because Margie is a fashion designer, and she sees her skills as her cherry pie. Whatever keeps the movie going, I guess. It is now summer in the village, and everyone is spending their time wisely hanging out on the beach.
サニーこそ書くのはほどほどにして少しは泳いだら？あと少しで終わりますから。でも今日はまだ一度も泳いでない時期。
Yeah, Margie, what a way to spend your time on this lovely day. Jesus, it's like you thought it was a relaxing getaway or something. God, elephants, eh? Always forgetting their manners. Meanwhile, somewhere more interesting, we find you, who is now dressed as a caveman for some reason, and Alfonso, who still looks like Croc's inbred cousin, looking for fossils and avoiding Rosetta's pickaxe, when Rosie tells them that there is a cave somewhere that have even bigger fossils.
あたい、あんな化石ならゴロゴロ転がってるところ知ってるけど。本当か。行きたいそこ連れてってくれ。頼む。今すぐ行こう。早く行こう。みんなで行こう。Right!
Later, we find them rowing into a cave where Yu has... Oh, come on, dude. We just saw you in a costume earlier. I think you can hold off showing off another. Although, isn't it interesting how Alfonso is dressed as the first mate, but he could have just worn a green jumpsuit with a clock hanging from his neck? That would have been an amazing Peter Pan reference, but... oh, what do I know? Rosie, despite taking this long to rethink what she said, admits she actually doesn't know if there's any fossils in here, and points them down the wrong path. Ooh, it's getting interesting now. Quick, pass me the popcorn. Oh, come on! What was that? Too crazy for an Animal Crossing game? So instead of actual action-paced fun, we have this brief moment where the mayor talks to Pascal and tries to get brownie points for his future election, which then backfires as Pascal just leaves and tells him off for being rude. Well, that was worth barely any time we could have spent elsewhere. Let's go back to the action. Back in the cave, though, the group end up completely unharmed and arrive at a cavern full of fossils, including one Blathers had said he always wanted to have in his museum.
フータさん、セイスモサウルスの完全な化石を博物館に展示するのが夢なんだって。じゃあ、その夢叶えてやろうぜ。
Yu, sensing the excitement from this, runs over and tries to climb up the rock face, and in doing so, causes the cave in.
きっと地震と崖の呪いだわに。
どこかに出口はあそこから出られるかも的。
Well, anyway, time for the summer festival. Let's forget all about that.
畑さん、まだ出てこないチェキ。まあ、少し落ち着いてブーケってば。
Ooh, KK Slider's here. Ooh, I've got to check this out.
やあ、いい夜だね。僕の名前はトタケケ。
Whoa, KK, when did you get that facelift, bro? Because that is one muscular jaw you've got. Why couldn't you have kept him like he was in the original game? Did you get threatened by Schultz for looking a bit too much like Snoopy and had to change it for the film? Well, to say I was surprised would be an understatement. No one else has spoken the word of cross English for the entire film, and then KK just bursts out in MIDI tone. I gotta admit, that is actually a pretty good homage to the fans. Too bad Tom Nook is still just a background character. Also, is it just me, or are wolf and dog characters looking a bit off-model compared to everybody else? They look more like furry costumes and anthropomorphic animals. Is it just me? Just me?
イメージが浮かんじゃったらもう描かずにはいられないの。あとは走り続けるだけ。そうなったらデザイナーになるのが私の夢なんです。いつか都会に出て世界中の人に私がデザインした。
Just in case we forgot though, as the song plays, Margie replays all her, I guess, important moments in her head, such as anything to do with cherry pie, thus concluding the day. So if this film wasn't any more exciting than it could be, after all of this build-up, we found out that Margie is not only leaving the town, but she's actually already left and didn't bother to tell I, her best friend, that she was leaving to become a designer.
サリー、どこかへ出かけたの？まさか知らなかったチェキ？サリーちゃん、デザイナーになるために都会に引っ越しちゃったのよ。愛ちゃん！
Wait, so everyone in the town heard about it and no one bothered to say it to I? Their technical male person? There are like a handful of people in this town. You couldn't fart without the rest of the town finding out about it by the time the fart ended. No one thought of saying it out loud? Where is this town? I want to live with this much privacy. So after looking high and low, she realises Margie is completely gone, and returns to the cafe to have feelings, as, you know, she's 11 years old and it's kind of expected. Unless your name is Whitney.
もうなんでオタクは落ち込んでんの？友達が引っ越したから？どんな事情があったにせよ、友達の門出を喜べないなんていい女とは言えないわよ。
She's 11 years old, you daft bitch. Unlike you guys, where 11 is the retirement age, she has a long way to go before she starts learning to hold her feelings in like the cold-hearted witch you are. Eat a dick, Whitney.
何も言ってくれなかった。私には引っ越すなんて何も。マスターは聞いてたんでしょ？ビアンカさんだってそのこと知ってたんでしょ？私、友達だと思ってたのに。
Yeah, shove it, Whitney. She told you. Later that evening, after finding a beached walrus and taking him home, God, didn't her parents tell her not to take strangers home with her? People in the village may not spread it around. And coincidentally at the same time, receives a letter from Margie, thus rendering the walrus completely pointless.
愛ちゃん、ごめんね。黙って言ってしまって怒ってるでしょ？でも直接会って話したらきっと私は泣いてしまいます。私、夢への一歩を涙で始めたくなかったの。いつも応援してくれた愛ちゃんならきっと分かってくれるよね。どうか私のわがままを許してね。ありったけの友情を込めて、サリー。
Wow, move over, Whitney. We may have a winner. So you didn't want to get upset because you were leaving because it would spoil your new life, but it was okay to completely make I feel betrayed and feel like she was a horrible person for not knowing. Jeez, you're a douche.
今度は愛ちゃんが自分のチェリーパイを食べる番だよ。
Oh, shove your cherry pie. And the annoying thing is, I is fine with it. What a gaslighting a-hole. Right, before I continue, you probably noticed that I'm naming these days rather than seasons, but You know, I know the sequences are happening so far apart from each other, but by the way the characters act and how there seems to be no character development except on these specific days, you might as well congest it into 5 days and just imagine you're someone who's cheating the game by calendar jumping. It is now winter in the village and everyone is bustling about as usual, while I continues to talk about cherry pie, and Rosie, her only friend, is completely confused as to why her friend is such a fatso and always eating pie. Later we see I talking to Celeste about the messages in the bottle. Oh, of course, I forgot to mention, these have been popping up each day during the film, and they didn't really mean anything to the plot until this point. So I saved you the exhaustion of continuously reminding you that they kept appearing every day, because it would get really boring.
最近ずっと考えてたの。メッセージボトルは他愛のない誰かのいたずらだったんじゃないかって。それを私が勝手に UFO と結びつけちゃって。雪祭りの夜に UFO に乗った宇宙人が動物村にやってくる。素敵な考えじゃないですか。
See what I mean? They only have relevance to the Winter Festival, and this is the big day it's supposed to happen.
どうしました？ UFO！
So after seeing something crash in the snow, I and the others rush the scene and find out what's going on.
Hello, 地球の人、はじめます。あらあららららら。ととととと。Right. 皆さんお願いがあるのですが、UFO の部品探しを手伝ってくれませんか？
UFO の部品？
墜落した時の部品が5個すっ飛んじゃいました。まだローンが残ってるのに。
ローン？
いや、部品が揃わないと宇宙に帰れません。
So, Gulliver says he needs 5 parts of his ship to get back into the air again, which links to the game where you have to collect parts of him, especially in New Horizon, where it can be used as a transmitter later. All the villagers split up to find the pieces as you, who is now cosplaying as Bugs Bunny for some reason, and the rest of the mystery gang set off to the blocked cave they went to previously, as you believes he saw one of the pieces there. Won't lie, the bunny outfit wins on the weirdest outfit so far. At least the others had some sort of relevance to the scene looking back on it, except the ninja, but it's a ninja. What's so bad about that?
本当にこの奥に落ちたの？
多分な。
無理チキ。
I wouldn't worry. Just eat a couple of apples and take a shovel to it and you'll sort it out. See? There you go. Nothing to... Oh, it's you. So without letting them know, or heck, maybe she wrote another letter when she's gone, probably explaining how she didn't want people to know she was going to hang around with a bunch of toddlers, Margie has returned just in time to help the plot move along, by just being the muscle.
ちょっと勝手に先行かないでよ。
待ってだーに。
So the crew make their way back to the cavern, which for some reason needs another establishing shot in case we forgot the last time they were there. Seriously, so much happens in this film, I'm surprised I still remember. And you sees the cog sitting on top of the dinosaur fossil from the previous event.
危ないよ、ゆうくん。
忘れたの？すぐに滑り落ちちゃうよ。
あの時は夏だった。でも今は寒さで土が硬くなって。
I mean, I know nothing about geology, but logically, wouldn't it be easier to climb in the summer because your hands would be numb in the winter? Especially the fact that in the summer you were barehanded, and here you're wearing gloves, which would mean even less... Oh god, I'm trying to make sense of Animal Crossing, what am I doing? Nah, I'm only kidding. He grabs the cog piece and falls in the most universally friendly way towards the group. If it was made by Disney. I'm joking again, they're all okay. I grabs the cog piece, we find out Yu has hair, which was kind of obvious, but everyone is suddenly shocked that he has hair, and I see it as an opportunity to have a moment with him, and they run back to Gulliver.
Hey! What? Oh no, なぜニコ?
本当だ。どういうこと？
But wait! It turns out one of the cogs was fake and is actually a lost alien from outer space. I mean, a literal alien, not Gulliver over here. So despite you doing all the hard work, it is I who is rewarded for saving this alien. Which in Yu's defense is a real dick move. Imagine if in Chicken Little, Abby got all the praise after Chicken did all the hard work. Would be a very weird moral message to take home.
帰っていく。
この宇宙のどこかに彼らの村があるのね。
あ、なんだ？
Wow, and no one is going to point out the injustice here? You're a bastard, Ai. No wonder Margie's your friend, just as bad as each other. So the alien goes away, everyone praises the hell out of Ai, she wins the Winter Festival Decoration Award, Yu probably goes and kills himself because he's been outcasted despite his bravery, and everything returns to normal, ending on another cherry pie reference.
今年は美味しい。私のチェリーパイが作れそうです。
And that was Dōbutsu no Mori, the OVA feature film about Animal Crossing, and my god was it incredibly adorable, but at the same time pretty dull. However, for all its basic storytelling, cute but uninteresting characters, and over-the-top sequences, I can understand why this movie is the way it is. It is essentially a children's film, directed mainly towards young girls, and considering the constructs of the game series itself, it would be hard to make something amazing out of that. So I can imagine that playing it safe was the better route to take. And there is nothing wrong with that. I think if I want to make a comparison in terms of the demographic, I would have to say it's similar to when Pokemon the first movie came out in the UK when I was a kid. Yeah, it's kind of a long drawn out episode, but because of the impact of the series and the audience it had, myself included, it could do no wrong. So when it was released, we all thought it was the greatest thing since Lion King, and maybe the audiences that were waiting for this film felt the same. I think if they re-release this today and maybe make a CGI remake on top of it, similar to what we did with the Pokemon movie, it may actually hit a chord with audiences and get the recognition it deserves. But until then, it will have to be shelved with all the other forgotten texts of video game to anime adaptations, similar to Crash Bandicoot's manga Dansu de Jump ne Daibuken. But the main thing is, what did you think about it? Did you enjoy it? Do you think it deserves more hype? Would you get it if it was released with an English dub? Comment down below and let me know. If you want to find a copy of this film, there are many different places it can be sourced. I mean, I found mine on an Animal Crossing group on Facebook, as my normal places have been closed down, so just look around really. There's even an English fan dub on Vimeo of it, which was pretty fun to watch, so I'll be sure to link that in the description below. But, as always, until next time, my name is Nick Starwind, you have been my audience. Thank you as always for watching my video and other videos, and like, share, subscribe, stick it on a badger, attach it to a brick, tie it to a balloon and float it over your town for someone to shoot down with a slingshot and be greatly disappointed it isn't a rare item. And well, in the words of the great Reggie...
Okay, that's all the time I've got. I gotta get back to playing Animal Crossing
New Horizons
on my Nintendo
Switch.
See you then.